We'll do Chevalier, and then we'll do something. All right, so our next review of the day is going to be for Chevalier. Chevalier is the movie based on the real life figure of Joseph Bologne, who was a violinist, who was a master fencer. He also led, according to this movie, at the end of the credits, a all-black regiment in the French Revolution. So this takes place a little bit before the French Revolution here, of seeing this biracial child kind of grow up. Obviously, how is he biracial? Well, it's, due to, having a slave master father and a slave mother, and him growing up and trying to advance his way through high society in this French, French world. Of course, being black in this day and age, with all that comes with the racism, the discrimination, the bigotry, and really having to be the best of the best, the cream of the top, to even get just a tenth of, the respect and recognition that he deserves, that his white counterparts have. So here in the lead, you have Kelvin Harris Jr., who's been in a little bit of things here and there. He was in Waves. People might know that from, he was in that. Who just dropped out? Did anybody? Oh, Nick must have just dropped out again because it's Wi-Fi. But yeah, he was in Waves, for instance, which I was a fan of that movie as well. He was also in what was that movie? It Comes at Night. That horror movie there that I thought was pretty good. I thought it was pretty decent. He was the kid in that movie. That movie came out about 2017, which they had a conclusion of that movie. It was like, it comes at night. What comes at night? Well, shit, we don't know. You tell us. But yeah, so he was in that. So yeah. So I did kind of like him in those things there, and he's kind of a little bit more in the lead, obviously, lead role here. I would say walking out of this movie, I thought that I would have much rather seen a documentary because I did not know about this figure in history. They do say in the movie that much of his life and his times have been lost because they've been buried because, he did go against the grain. He was somebody that defied the authority of the rule there in France. And because of that, they were like, you will be erased from the history books. Also with...
And also in real life, he led the first black regiment in the French Revolution. And, because he was a black man, Napoleon Bonaparte struck a lot of his history and a lot of his music from being recorded. He basically erased him from history. And now, thanks to, some very, very much more diligent scholars than either of us will ever be, a lot of his music is starting to reappear, and we now have this film about him.
Yeah. Which is good. So that was good, for this movie to do that, to introduce you to a figure like that you may not know, who has been lost in history. And when a movie, especially a Hollywood movie, says like based on a true story, based on a real figure, we always talk about this.
Yeah, we said it best. I think I said it best during our Cocaine Bear review. It's like, this is Hollywood, baby. We don't give a fuck about the truth.
Yeah. So, did any of this stuff really happen? 97% of it probably didn't happen.
I mean, the movie, I think it's upfront with that this is going to be a more exaggerated take, because it opens with essentially, how do I put this? The equivalent of a 17th century rap battle between him and Mozart.
Yeah. So which is a good opening. It's a very good opening to the movie, and it's fun.
It's a fantastic hook, I'll say that.
Yeah, and it's a great way to introduce the character and everything like that. And I thought that was a lot of fun because it does, and it's like you said, it's like a rap battle. I mean, Mozart at the end, goes like, God damn, this man's science is too tight. He's just,
who the fuck is this man?
Yeah, but yeah, so the opening title comes up, Chevalier, which is a title that's given in France. It's basically like a knighthood, equivalent of like a knighthood in the United Kingdom. It's basically what you're given there. And that's given to him by Marie Antoinette in this movie. So throughout this movie, you see him, like I said, you see him move through upper society, because he wants to do this big play and be in charge of the France opera there and be in charge of that. But of course, because of his position being a black man, they won't let him do that. And he's trying to be in competition with this other guy, and he's trying to prove himself. There's that. You have some more Weaving in this movie, who he ends up having a relationship with. There's a lot of conflict there. Her being a white woman, obviously there in this time period. You have Minnie Driver in this movie, who plays a fading opera star who comes in. It's good to see Minnie Driver. I haven't seen her in a minute. Good to see her. She also looks really great here too. And
Yeah, she does.
she also has conflict there. Again, so you see all these kind of different sides of people who love him, who admire him, who kind of lust after him, who hate him, and him trying to figure himself out, because there's a point in the movie where he gets to see his mother again. He hasn't seen since he was a child, come back to his life, and then she represents his roots of, it's like you got to be in touch with yourself, connecting back to your people. So there's kind of those different elements. Even though this
and the movie, I think, for all its fault, it does do a good job of showcasing that internal conflict, which is, do I change with this upper echelon of society that I've found myself in, or do I stay in touch with my roots, which is, I think, a struggle that a lot of people can relate to.
Yeah. So I even though you have all those kind of different elements kind of going on here, like I said, I mean, there's a reason why I said walking out of it, I'd much rather see a documentary to get more of the real story of kind of what happened here. Because, you got to Hollywoodize the story and add all these affairs and relationships and things. And, kind of try to do that here, for entertainment's sake. And that's fine. Like I said, I don't expect historical accuracy with any of these movies. That's fine. It's just that it just comes off as a little conventional, and I don't think anything that fresh with the story, what they kind of do with it there. What kind of some of your thoughts?
Some of my thoughts I think that this movie is a very entertaining, very possibly inaccurate historical drama, but again, I can't speak to how accurately this portrays his life, but if even a fraction of what we're told in this movie is true, and even more so in the end credits when we get the little blurbs about what he went on to do after his life, what this man contributed to the French Revolution, I feel like this would have been better served as, like you said, a documentary or an HBO miniseries, because the movie, it does move very fast. It's only like an hour and 40-some minutes. And it feels like there's so much more story to be told around Joseph Bologne.
Yeah. Like I said, leading up to those things, because this is like on the cusp of the French Revolution. And like you said, I mean, when the credits roll and they start to, how like every movie about a true story ends, they start to give the little facts about the person and life and what happened. So like I said, dude lived a very interesting life. This prodigy, the dude who was this master violinist, amazing fencer, commander of the this regiment, everything like that. That's interesting. You know what I mean? Those elements are interesting, and then the music that he created, being this composer, all that stuff is really great. And like I said, it's such a short time period of an hour and 47 minutes to jam all this stuff in. Plus, I'll deal with all the internal conflict stuff. All the other performances here, besides Kelvin Harris Jr., you have like Samora Weaving, who does fine. I think she does a decent job here. And there's a good scene, dramatic scene here that's towards the latter part of the movie, which really sparks his character into like really calling for a revolution and helping people when he sees kind of things around him there. So yeah, and then the woman who plays his mother also comes back. I think also does a solid job as well. Her kind of coming in here. Yeah, it's just I wasn't just too excited about the movie walking out of it. I mean, I'm glad that I know about this person, and I want to do more research about them. I think that's a good thing that the movie serves as that purpose. I think it serves as a good vehicle for Kelvin Harris Jr. for being more lead in movies. So I think that's good for him. He's a young guy. I think he's like 28, so he's a young guy. So maybe give him a bigger, broader profile. But overall, do I think it's a movie that, I mean, maybe you should go see it in theaters to support it, to give it some shine there, because it's probably going to be probably buried pretty quick amongst all this stuff that's going to be coming out. So you probably should do that. But if you just want to, know about this figure in history that's been lost, like I said, purposefully erased, then I recommend checking that out and learn about this. So yeah, I would give it a stream it for me. What about you?
Yeah, so walking into the theater, I didn't have very high expectations. The trailers didn't really do a lot to grab me. I had never really seen Kelvin Harrison Jr. before in a lot of stuff. But what interested me was that this was directed by Stephen Williams, who was a director on Lost, who did a couple episodes of Watchmen. And the screenplay is by Stephanie Robinson, who was a writer on Atlanta and on What We Do in the Shadows. So I was very curious to see what they ended up doing with the more straightforward biopic, and that's the best description I can have for this movie. In spite of the I think the importance of being able to showcase Joseph Bologne's story, which is much more fascinating, even in just the like half an hour of Wikipedia research I was able to do after seeing the movie, and showcasing getting people's foot in the door as far as researching him, because he lived an incredibly fascinating and amazing life considering the time he was born in and the obstacles that he had to overcome. But the film does struggle with a lot of the conventional biopic tropes of trying to capture this entire massive window into his life and just simply not having the time nor the interest in doing so. It's more focused on Bologne's personal relationships, like with Samara Weaving's character, and something that I think was and his friendship and eventual falling out with Marie Antoinette. And the thing that I have an absolute complaint about is the stuff with the French Revolution. It almost kind of comes out of nowhere, or at least it's in the background for a majority of the movie, and it feels like it's brought back into the third act just because they need to find an ending. It doesn't come up organically, I feel, throughout the movie, but purely off of Kelvin Harrison's performance, off of the production of this, the costumes look fantastic, and the chemistry he has with and the chemistry he has with the cast when he's allowed to bounce off them, like with Lucy Boynton, like with Samara Weaving, and like with his mother, who is not listed on Wikipedia. I mean, what the fuck?
Yeah. I also like the dude who was that big ass hater in this movie too. That guy, what's his name? Martin Kasaka.
Martin Sokas, who I remember from Triple X.
Yeah, his ass is a giant hater. This motherfucker hey, you know what I mean? Just kind of comes in the movie. He's the one that's married to Samora Weaving.
Yeah, it's like A, you're black, and B, you're trying to fuck my wife.
Yeah, like he's so uptight. He won't even let his wife do opera, which opera is considered very classy to do opera. And he's like, "That's just I won't let you get on that stage and be a whore." It's like, damn. Like, damn. It's like, bro, it's an opera. Like, Jesus Christ, bro.
Even I was like, that was such a fun. It's like one of those things. It's playing it so straight, it ends up being unintentionally funny. And I say this as someone that liked the movie. I would say that this is a very good stream it. I would say it is worth supporting it in the theater if you can, in spite of all the stuff that's kind of this is absolutely gonna get buried by.
Yeah. So you said you gave it a stream it, right? Stream?
Yes, a very high stream it, bordering on a tune in. Because I had so much fun with it. Like the performances from the cast, like Stephen Williams' direction, and the score, which is using a lot of Bologne's pieces, but they feel like they have this kind of modern energy to it. And something that I didn't know is that the whole scene with Mozart, one of the stories about him is that they were kind of trained in the same academy of music. And people put comparisons of what they were able to find of Bologne's music alongside Mozart's, and they found a lot of similarities between the two. It's almost like, did he steal it?
Interesting. Oh, yeah. Yeah. So 2 streamers for Chevalier. Chris, you listen to classical music?
Not consistently. Like, I didn't know anything about this guy really before they started playing trailers for it. Like, trailers did catch my eye and made me interested. I just didn't have the time to check it out, and I got to be, selective with what I spend my money on. I do want to see it though because the story does sound interesting. I like that lead actor a lot. I thought he was fantastic in Waves, and I think I read like he's got some like big like franchise thing coming up. I just remembered he's going to be Scar in the Lion King prequel, which
Oh,
fuck the Lion King remake all the way. But I'm happy to see a good actor getting paid, so there's that at least. But yeah, it's something I do want to check out at some point, and you guys are selling me on it.
yeah. Yeah, you uncultured
Oh,
swine. I should take off my
and
glove and
Kelvin
slap you
and
for not listening to classical music.
and Kelvin Harrison played BB King in Elvis.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, that's another thing he was in. Right. Okay.
Yeah. So I want to see his profile grow. I think he's a good actor. Yeah. So they might
Yeah,
see.
he's fantastic in this, and I said it in my like fresh out the theater reaction on my TikTok. If I had to draw the list up right now, Kelvin's on my short list for best actor.
Interesting. Did anybody see Cyrano? Yeah.
Cyrano?
Cyrano?
No.
Okay, he was in that. Because it almost looks like those are the kind of the same movie almost, but yeah. But
Because of Black Man in 17th Century?
I guess so. Yeah, people. Yeah, that type of stuff. Yeah, Black Man, 17th century. Yeah. So 2 streamers for Chevalier. Check it out.